morning.
En goeiemorgen. This morning we have a bit of a chat about the hard realities of immigration.
Yes, goes.
And
Although
she chose the topic.
because although we're all very happy and very lucky to be here and never want to go back to South Africa, when you think back, there were things that was really hard and things that are still really hard, especially on immigrants, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't matter which country you come from. I think we all go through the same struggles and we all have the same hardships.
Yeah.
Right?
And good morning to everybody who said good goeiemorgen and good morning. Yeah, sometimes you get, as I say, she used to tell me, don't look through rose-tinted glasses. You remember that? I think it was 2018. You said that to me. And then I came here with all these massive expectations of a new country and a new life. And wow.
And I always tell him, don't sugarcoat stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, you want people to know that this is really lovely, and it's we are so happy, and you want them to be here. But there are things that they have to think about, stuff
Yeah.
that we also went through. So yes, everything is not.
So please note this morning
Rosy.
it's not all doom and gloom,
No.
but we have to tell you about a few things that was a hard reality for us at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think we should start from when you decide that you want to immigrate. So, making the decision to immigrate is probably the hardest decision that you'll
Yeah.
ever have to make in your life.
In your whole life.
It is not an easy one. It took me about a year and a half just to get to the point where I was really content with our decision to move. It's really hard.
Yeah, and I think for me it was an easy decision to make, but it had such a lot of consequences that I didn't think of at the time that I took the decision. I mean, at that stage we thought we were going to come a year and a half before we actually came. So
Yeah.
my whole planning was wrong.
And I think making the decision just between the two of us
Yeah.
was not that hard. But then you have to involve your family. Then it becomes a little bit more difficult because everyone takes the takes the news a different way, and that makes it difficult for you because it all comes back to you in the end. And then after you make the decision to immigrate, then to get everything in place.
And then during
It's not
this
easy.
process, sorry, I'm chipping that in. During this process, you sometimes get the feeling, or you sometimes have to think for yourself, am I making the right decision? And let's call it self-doubt. Sometimes you have the self-doubt and you doubt yourself to the point that you think, let's stop everything and not go ahead.
And as soon as it becomes hard to get everything together and to get everything in place, then it's so easy to just say, you know what, I'm not going to do this. Let's just leave it.
That's the easiest part.
Because for us, yes, it was hard because our house sold very quick and we had to move in with other people. But I know some people that come, they get the visas, and then in 3 weeks' time, they have to get the house sold, all packed up, say goodbye to everyone, and get on the plane.
And that's a hectically fast.
Maybe it's a good thing that it
Yeah, I
happened
also
so fast.
think
You
so.
don't have a chance to sit back and think about
The
it.
interesting thing, the more people I meet that have come over in a very quick period of time, the more people, or more of those people I meet that come over in a very quick time, less of them are ever talking about going back. I don't know if they've been plucked out of their circumstances so quickly that they
Yeah.
have adapted this side. So
Maybe we'll eat them a little later.
some of them has already been here for 3 years or so on. So
Okay, then you get everything together and then you have to say goodbye. And I think,
and let's face it, no goodbye is ever a
No.
nice thing to do. So
and some of the people that you greet, you
you know it's
don't
for the
know if
last
you're
time in your
never
life.
ever going to see them again. Yeah, that was really
Yeah,
hard.
that was like with my dad. I knew the day I said goodbye to him, I knew that would be the last time in my life that I ever see him alive. And 3 months later, he died.
Yeah.
So
So that is really hard to say goodbye, and to say goodbye to your children, and to say goodbye to your grandkids, because they grow up so quick, and you know that you're going to miss a whole lot of that.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay.
All
Then,
right, let's step on that. That's all. Let's
then
go on.
you arrive in New Zealand, and
The first thing
it's wonderful.
when we arrived, the lady at the airport that took our passports, so the very first person we actually saw in New Zealand said, "Welcome home,"
Yeah.
and that was
No, it's a
so there
wow,
was
it's
my
a wow
bubble. It
moment,
was
really
wow.
it is.
So
But then you have to get settled in.
mm,
So you have to find a rental, you have to buy a car or
Yep.
two, you have to get your kids settled into school if you've got children, you have to,
and then this is another harsh reality that suddenly claps you there
yes, and
because your 10 rand is $1.
if you come without furniture, you have to get some furniture, otherwise you have to live, as many do, in a kind of empty house with just mattresses and stuff. You can do it, and it's kind of an experience. So it is doable, but you just have to know that this is how it is going to be. So just get your head around that.
I've had many clients call me when I go to see them. They say, "Just bring your own chair."
Yes, yeah.
I
As
have taken
long
my own
as
chair.
you see all of this in a positive
Yeah.
light,
Yeah.
it will be okay. But I think for someone that didn't really want to come,
This is a big
this
negative
is
then.
going to be very hard. Okay, and then when you settled in and you started a new job or whatever, I think that's when your bubble kind of burst.
Can I say something about starting at the new job?
Yes.
The problem with most of the South Africans that arrive in New Zealand, they arrive on a visitor's visa. Oh no, sorry, on a work visa. And the work visa is like a temporary slave permit. Sorry about that.
No, I don't think in every job situation it's like that. I think
But,
for tradies it can be like that.
The big problem is you come in, you start off at the bottom again. So even if you're 40 years old, you're down at the bottom again. If somebody needs to be, or there's somebody needed to sweep out the floors, you go and sweep out the floors. And probably you, let's say at age 40, most of the guys in South Africa had their own business, or were at least a manager or senior manager somewhere, and they fall back into this down to the bottom. Everybody else going to have a coffee and they must sweep the floor. So
it's humbling.
It's humbling. But the biggest concern here is, and my concern to people that work with their hands, work with these two things, my biggest concern here would be a lot of people struggle with their bodies, not being able to adapt again.
Yeah.
And that I've seen, and that is hectic. And I'm sorry for you guys
You're not
out
as
there.
fit as you.
Not as fit as you are. And you've got to carry. There's not a Jonas and a Petrus and 10 people that can help you carry. If you need to move one piece of machinery from one side of the workshop to the other side of the workshop, it's you. Either you go and get a cart or somewhere along the line, but it's you. People won't stop and help.
Yeah. And I think that is where it becomes difficult, especially for men. I know of quite a few people that went back to South Africa in the end because the men couldn't adapt. I get it. But I think when you decide to come and you are going to be in a position at a job where you know you're going to have to physically work, you have to just get your mind around the idea that you're really going to work hard.
You have to get yourself mentally fit.
Yes.
That's a
Prepare
big
yourself for that
thing.
because that is how it's going to be. But you just have to stick it out. One of our best friends, he stuck it out for 2 years and he's in a managerial position now. And I mean fit as ever because he had to work so hard for 2 years. But it's 2 years. It's not the rest of your life.
That's a learning curve.
Yeah. And remember, you're not the only one that has to go through it. And it's not, there's nothing bad about it.
No.
You don't
But at the end of the day, you've got to get this in your mind that this is probably going to happen if you come over on a tradie type of position.
Yes.
Especially the guys that have run their own businesses in South Africa.
It's really hard.
And it's a harsh reality, or let me say a hard reality, and it's a humbling experience. It's really a humbling experience.
We also had, before COVID, when people could still come over for a look-see decide, and they ended up having coffee with us. We listened to some of the men, and they were like, yes, I'm going to look for a job now. I'm not going to do this and this and this. I'm used to having my own business. I run the show. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. It's not going to happen for you then.
Yep.
You have to make a mind shift, definitely.
And the big thing is, if you arrive in New Zealand, you got to step out of your South African shoes. That is a, and that took me some getting used to. In South Africa or in Cape Town where I lived, people knew me being from the bank times and so on. I suddenly come to New Zealand, people don't know you at all. But that was the other part of the
we'll
equation.
get to the negative of that in a moment.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is, yes, you come to a country where people speak English, you can understand English, but the dialect that they speak and the slang that they use, it's like a total different language.
I nearly floored a guy on the first day when he said I had a sweet ass.
It's been 3.5 years now, and only now I start to really get what they're saying. Sometimes I still have to listen 3 times, or sometimes I just laugh and
smile away.
Pretend I knew what they said. But they also struggle to understand us sometimes. So for them, it's also difficult.
And what we talk is slang to them again.
Yes, and I mean the diversity of the people in New Zealand. You get a different dialect of English around every corner. And some people, like the Chinese people, I really can't understand them. They talk a very broken English in an accent that I don't get. Yes. So, yes, there's a lot. It's interesting and it's not a bad thing, but it is a reality.
And what I meant by stepping out of your South African shoes, if you walk into the local Toyota dealership and say, I want to buy a bakkie. Not going to work. You got to say, I want to buy you. Yeehaw.
I'd have to do that, you know.
They don't know what a bakkie is down here. So, that's just interesting. But you really got to step out of your South African shoes. You got to take on this new role as a New Zealander, basically, or a Kiwi, and start from there on and start afresh. I mean, I had to start afresh. I had to start from the bottom. I had to rethink myself the whole time. And a lot of guys come down here and they do restart, and they really do good for themselves. I'm so proud of various of my countrymen that are here that's really doing extremely, extremely good for themselves.
But I'm sure if you talk to them,
they will have the same story.
It was hard to get where
very
they
hard.
are.
Yeah.
And then another thing is the shops are different.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a different country. It's a new country. So
I'm going to put this up there. Broken English. Is you talking about me again?
Who is that? You can't see who it is. So the food is different, and it's got different names in the shop. So you'll be looking for something, and then it's called something totally different. I remember when I did my first self checkout.
Yeah.
I was buying sweet potatoes and peppers, and I was looking for it on the thing there, and I couldn't find the peppers. So I asked, what is this? And she said, oh no, it's a capsicum. So they've got different names, but that is also fun if your mindset is right. If your mindset is not right, that's not going to be fun. You're going to moan about it.
I want to put this up here. It's quite a long one from Almarie Meyering, saying the hardest part of us was starting at the bottom, feeling like the happy. And that's what they feel like. My husband had it the worst. He was 46 when he got here. Bad age to come, and he never worked so hard in his life. He came home late at night with his hands that bled, dirty, muddy clothes, and 80% of his salary went towards the rent. The thing I learned is that you do not take the word of other immigrants. Do the research, check prices of schools, rent, electricity, and groceries. That's a hard reality she's talking about.
And
that's
that is really true. People experience things differently. So don't ask other people. Yes, ask them for some advice, but don't go on their word, because the way that they experience it is not going to be the way that you will experience it. So do your own research. We all had to do our own research.
But there's also a problem there. Because when you start doing research, you're on South African rand. And that makes your head car. Let's be quite frank about that. For me, the first year in New Zealand, I was still thinking in rand.
The thing
And I was
is,
thinking, it's crazy.
It's like when we were still in South Africa, we went online to Countdown or whatever, so that we can just have a look and prepare ourselves for what stuff will cost.
Yep.
And you get an idea then, but once you're here and you actually go grocery shopping, I ended up putting everything back on the shelf because in reality, it's really expensive. New Zealand is an expensive country. So you have to be prepared for that as well.
Yeah,
you can survive on not much money.
Yeah. But you are in the long run also paying for the fact that you live here.
Yes.
Let's call it what we want. It is a safe country. It's really a wonderful country, but there is a few hard realities around immigration.
Yeah. And then I think the hardest of all is you are going to miss your family tremendously. There's no getting around it. Yes.
That's a given.
And you realize, or for me, I realized that South Africa is very far. Before we immigrated, that was one of the things that really was hard for me to get my head around. I always told him, New Zealand is at the end of the world. There's nothing there. Oh, sorry. It's so far from South Africa and from the rest of the world.
Actually, I went to a map to see where New Zealand is the first time.
But the thing is, in my mind, it was just like, it felt like I'm going somewhere where I will be forgotten. It really felt like that. And I must say, it really is far. To get on a plane to South Africa, not that you can do it at the moment anyway, but it is very long flight and you get very tired. So it is not easy because it is so far.
But positive around this is the fact that WhatsApp video call is there.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not the same, but you could have been writing letters to each other.
Yeah,
think about that.
I don't think I would have immigrated. You miss your friends as well. Some of them, the friends for life. We've been talking a lot about friends for reason, season, and for life. The friends for life, you really miss them a lot. I saw photos of one of our best friends the other day where they were having a holiday at his holiday home in Betty's Bay with his family, and all those memories just come flooded back from when we were having holidays with them there. So, yeah, you will miss that. You have to.
You will miss that.
You will miss that.
What else did we had compiled a whole list here this morning to talk about.
Yeah, I think we've got few things on our list, and then the one thing that's really not a nice thing to talk about, but it's also reality, is that you will get hurt by other people in New Zealand. And sadly enough, it will be people from the same country as you.
Yeah.
That was one thing that really got to me. I think when you immigrate, you're thinking like, okay, there's a lot of South Africans. They're all from our country. They know what it's about. They know how hard it was. I'm sure that we will stick together. Some of them don't want to stick. Some do. Most do.
Yes, I gotta remember back in South Africa when the four-tracker time was there.
Yeah.
3 guys got on an ox wagon and they split different parts. Same here.
So yes, unfortunately, within the first year that we've been here, for the first 9 months that we've been here, we had a really bad experience with people. That kind of broke me in a way.
Yeah.
And then you start to think, where am I ever going to make nice friends again? Is this am I going to be on my own?
But can I say this? She's made some of the most nicest friends
I know, I've got beautiful
in
friends.
the world, actually.
Yeah, I've got beautiful friends.
Extremely good friends, people that she can call in the middle of the night.
We like sisters,
Check
actually.
This. Our first self-check out was at Kmart. Now, the people in South Africa don't know self-checkout is where you ring up your own stuff. We brought cups and knives and forks. It's the first that not know how to. It was in December, the busiest time in Kmart. Kmart was busy. And everyone in the store was watching the street clowns trying to figure out self-check.
300
items in the trolley.
it's fine. I sometimes still struggle. I get it, but he doesn't have any patience. So when the thing tells you, put your item in the basket or
Yeah.
whatever, and he's put the item in the basket, and he keeps on saying that. Well, then
That thing is weird, actually. It could be something that weighs nothing.
it is sometimes.
Jeez.
You just have to be patient.
Or when I buy wine for the whole thing flashes red because they think I'm a minor. And then somebody has to come and say, nee, die oom is oud genoeg.
You in New Zealand, when you buy wine, even if you're 87, a manager has to come and check you out.
So
That's very funny, as if I can't see that we're
and
not
the
18
joke is,
anymore.
I buy Heineken Zero, which has got zero alcohol in.
Still,
You will see that will go crazy when I buy Heineken Zero.
yeah, that's really funny. What else? Okay, we were talking about, because this is quite a it's not a nice thing to talk about, but it's something that you really have to remember. The people from your own country that will put you down. I think because New Zealand is not a big country, in South Africa, you're known in Cape Town, or you're known in Johannesburg, or you're known whichever area you live in. In New Zealand is so small that the whole of New Zealand feels like Cape Town. So people know about you, and not everyone will be nice to you. I think it's the same as when you in South Africa anyway. Not everyone is going to be nice to you, but I think
probably at the end of the day, there's also people in South Africa who would have been ugly to you.
yes, it is
But
true.
because we are more people there, it doesn't really.
And I think it's just
your
because
bullet
you would think that by going through the same struggle to get to a new country, you will remember what it was like. So you think that people would actually feel for you and help you in a way, but they don't always do. So yeah, that is just one thing that you have to remember. You can't really rely on everyone. You still have to kind of rely on yourself until you get to the point when you make that family who will support you through everything.
And when you make a good friend here, that's really good friends, and that's friends for life. I've got friends which, if I reach out to them, they will drop everything and come and help me. And the same with you. And I'm actually proud of the friends that we have down here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I hope they're proud of the fact that I'm their friend as well. So, put your hand up.
Yeah. What else was there, Jan, that was
I think,
hard for you?
I think for me, the hard reality was money-wise as well. You come to this country, you leave South Africa with, some people leave South Africa with a lot of money, some people leave South Africa with just a little bit of money. We didn't leave South Africa with too much money, but we had a few bucks. But when we crossed the border, it divided by 11 at that time.
And the thing is, when we got here, Jan didn't get a very big salary. So we kind of lived from the money that we
You're welcome.
made.
I want to be your friend.
Oh, you can be our friend. So we had to live off the money that we saved to get to New Zealand for that first 6 months, almost a year. At some point, we were really wondering how we're going to make it.
And the big reason why I struggled in the beginning was I thought that people will know me here as they knew me back home. I don't know why I ever thought that. I came into New Zealand with no plan to market myself. But that soon changed. So
yeah,
and you have to think out of the box here. You really have to think out of the box in this country. And this country will challenge you on every aspect of what you knew in South Africa. From driving, that will challenge you because you will think the way you think in South Africa, to the way you do business here. And if you aren't ready for this challenge, then you are going to run into a brick wall. Let's be quite frank.
Yeah. I think one thing that you have, that will make it easier for you, is to remember you are moving to a totally new country. Yes,
who doesn't have
English,
the faintest idea who you are.
but the thing is also, you have to adapt it's like when you go on holiday to
Yeah.
Europe or whatever. You know, for that time that you're there, you have to just adapt. You have to eat the food that they eat. You have to drive the way that they drive.
And quite interesting uh, comparison that you do here. If you go to anywhere in Europe and you stay there for one day, you are a tourist. If you stay there for a week, after a week, I mean, we've stayed in, think of that place in Israel where we stayed, where we went to buy that chocolate-filled dough stuff that we ate so much. After about 3-4 days, those guys smiled when we
Yeah, they
arrived at the
start
shop.
to
They started to
yeah,
recognize
yeah.
us and so on. Yeah, and
So,
the same
yeah.
here. The same here.
I think you must just get your head around that it will be different, and just adapt and just enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
It is a total. I think the first year it felt like I was on holiday in New Zealand because everything was just new, but I liked the experience.
Especially the way you throw in petrol.
Yes, that also, and you have to clean your own house. Remember.
Yeah.
And you have
That's
to do
another
your
hard
own
reality for some people that you
your
don't
garden
think of.
work you have to do yourself. You can get people to do it for you, but you will pay the minimum wage.
Yeah.
So and really, ladies, it's not that bad to clean your own house. I think now that we've watched some television from Australia and everything, South Africa is actually just we were spoiled in South Africa. No other country has got housekeepers to clean their house.
Yeah.
Everyone cleans their own houses.
Or you pay the person that wants to
Yeah.
clean your house
So
a massive salary.
yeah, remember that you were just spoiled, and I must say it in a very ugly way. And you're not going to be spoiled in New Zealand.
You can get a housekeeper in New Zealand for about
Yes.
$25 an hour,
Yeah.
about
So
roughly.
yeah, you have to pay someone $30 an hour to clean your house, and
Yeah.
they're busy for 4 hours. And I can do a lot with that
Yeah.
money.
I fully understand this. I'm struggling with the grass cutting. I fully understand that. We're lucky we live in a security complex, by the way. We've got a guy here that cuts the whole complex, and he's given us a very good deal on
But
cutting
we
this
still
grass.
have to do the garden work,
Yeah,
and
we'll do
we
the
don't
garden
get
work,
to
yeah.
it. So yeah,
It's just not enough hours per day.
I know.
Bram just asking this question: Do you think with what is happening in immigration that PR and permanent future will be possible if you're close to 50?
Don't know.
Nobody knows at this current stage. It's a blank slate there. We're waiting for immigration to give us some leads on that. So sorry, Bram, I can't answer that question.
Oh,
today.
and another thing that I think you have to know is going to be very hard for you. Until you get your residence, you are going to live in total, I don't want to say fear, but with that stress
Yeah.
in the back of your head all the time of, am I going to get residence? Are they going to send me back? Until you get residence, I think that constant stressor in your
Yeah.
mind is going to be there. So just make peace with that as well.
I call it anchoring. And resident is one of that first anchors you can actually only throw out to New Zealand. The rest of the time, you're like a boat drifting in the current. And once you get residence, that's your first anchor. Permanent residence, your second anchor. And citizenship is your third anchor. If you've got 3 anchors, you're standing dead still. So, but to get
just-
that first anchor, the rest of
Yeah.
them follow just to get the first
And
anchor.
also remember, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Most of the people that immigrated are still waiting for residence. So you're not the only one that's going through it. Reach out to someone if
Yeah.
you need to.
And it's hectic. Guys, if you are, we're running out of time. If you're ever out there and you want to talk, especially the people who are here without their family, reach out to us. I am here if you want to talk to a guy, and Mariska's here if you want to talk to a lady. So, yeah. That's us this morning.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
No.
All right. I want to say she struggled in the beginning to throw in petrol. Used to wait until I go to the petrol station and then I had to fill up her car. But I taught her nicely, and these days she's doing it herself.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm really proud on the way that you adapted to this new country. I knew it took a heck of a lot, and it took a heck of a lot out of you. But I'm really, really proud. It's been 3 years now, and you have been doing very good. All right. So, Leon, I want to just saying, ek wil ook boot ry. Yeah, the boat needs another wheel bearing, but this is going in
no,
Sunday.
this boat thing is a whole different
After
session.
Sunday, Sunday. All right, guys, go stay well, stay good, and thanks for listening to us this morning.
Enjoy your day.
Enjoy your day. Bye.